The default effect is one of the most powerful and often invisible forces shaping human behavior. It refers to our tendency to accept preset options rather than actively making a choice, even when alternatives might better serve our needs. From organ donation rates to retirement savings, from app settings to subscription plans, the default option often becomes the chosen one not because it's best, but because it's easiest. So why do people stick to defaults? The answer lies in psychology, decision fatigue, cognitive biases, and even social norms. Let's start with the basics. The default effect is a cognitive bias where individuals are more likely to go along with a pre-selected option than to change it. This isn't just laziness, it's a complex psychological shortcut. When faced with a decision, especially one that feels unfamiliar, complicated, or time-consuming, our brains look for ways to conserve energy. Defaults offer a path of least resistance. One reason defaults are so sticky is status quo bias. People tend to prefer things to stay the same. Change introduces uncertainty, and uncertainty feels risky. Even if the default isn't ideal, it's familiar, and familiarity feels safe. This is why many people stick with their bank, their phone plan, or their browser settings for years without reconsidering. Another factor is decision fatigue. We make thousands of decisions every day, from what to wear, to what to eat, to how to respond to messages. As the day goes on, our mental energy depletes. When we're tired, we're more likely to accept whatever is already chosen for us. This is why default settings are so effective in digital environments. Whether it's privacy settings on social media or cookie preferences on websites, most users simply click accept without reading or adjusting anything. Effort avoidance also plays a role. Changing a default often requires effort reading terms, comparing options, filling out forms. Even small barriers can deter action. Behavioral economists call this friction, and it's a powerful tool. If the default is easy and the alternative is hard, most people will stick with the default even if the alternative is better. Let's look at a striking example: organ donation rates. In countries like Austria and Belgium, organ donation is opt-out, meaning everyone is a donor by default unless they choose otherwise. In these countries, donation rates exceed 90%. In contrast, countries like Germany and the United States use opt-in systems, where people must actively register. Their rates hover around 15%. The difference isn't cultural, it's structural. The default changes everything. Another example is retirement savings. In companies where employees are automatically enrolled in a retirement plan, participation rates skyrocket. When enrollment requires active sign-up, many employees delay or forget. Defaults remove the need for initiative, and that alone drives behavior. Even in consumer behavior, defaults shape choices. Think about your phone's ringtone, your email layout, your streaming service's autoplay settings. Most people never change them, not because they love them, but because they're already set. The default becomes the norm. Marketers and designers understand this deeply. That's why default options are carefully chosen to guide behavior. Want users to upgrade? Make the premium plan the default. Want people to share data? Pre-check the box. These aren't accidents, they're psychological nudges. But the default effect isn't always manipulative. It can be used ethically to promote better outcomes. For example, setting healthier food options as the default in cafeterias can improve nutrition. Making eco-friendly choices the default in product design can reduce environmental impact. Defaults can be a form of choice architecture, structuring decisions to help people make better ones without removing freedom. Still, awareness is key. The default effect can lead to passive living, where choices are made for us, not by us. It's easy to drift through life accepting whatever's handed to us: the job path, the relationship dynamic, the daily routine. But active choice is empowering. It's the difference between living by design and living by default. So how can we counter the default effect? First, pause before accepting. When presented with a preset option, ask, is this what I really want? That moment of reflection can shift everything. Second, reduce decision fatigue in areas that matter. Automate trivial choices so you have energy for important ones. For example, plan meals in advance or create a morning routine so you can focus your decision-making power on career moves, relationships, or personal growth. Third, create your own defaults. Set up systems that reflect your values. Want to read more? Make books your default entertainment. Want to save money? Automate transfers to your savings account. Defaults aren't inherently bad, they're powerful. The key is choosing them intentionally. Finally, stay curious. Explore alternatives. Challenge assumptions. Just because something is preset doesn't mean it's optimal. The more you question defaults, the more you reclaim agency. In conclusion, the default effect reveals how much of our behavior is shaped not by deep thought, but by design. It's a reminder that choice architecture matters and that awareness is the first step toward intentional living. By recognizing when we're being nudged, we can choose to nudge ourselves in the direction we truly want to go.